Test, testy, test. What is up, guys? What's happening? It's Chunk. We are working on 3D prints, getting stuff going. Just pulling up my things to monitor chat for y'all so I can make sure. Hey, thanks for the sub. Welcome to the channel, Chunks 3D. You can see the printer's going ham. Printing some parts for a Batman statue. We're going to be cleaning up the supports on these, plus some more Batman figure pieces. I'll be showing off one that's almost fully printed, and we're going to be going through the motions. But in the meantime, welcome. I appreciate y'all stopping by. I appreciate y'all stopping by. I can hear myself. Let's see, and then YouTube. There's something relatively cool that happened. One of my clients, they're a band, musicians, and that band just recently released a music video. The band is Sound of Sirens, or Screams of Sirens, my bad. And their music video that they released today actually showcases some of the things that I 3D printed for them. They're like little SOS heart symbols. So, check them out. I might showcase a bit of the music video during the stream, but I'll have to mute or lower the audio because, I don't want to get flagged on any of my things for copyright or whatever you call it. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the channel, guys. I'm Chunk. Let's get this going. So, let me just type in yo. Kind of the huge. He said the huge. Make sure my chats is going. But yeah, if you're new here, hi. Hello. And if you're not new here, welcome back. Nice to see your face again. Let's see. So that is that. That's that. Cool. So it looks like I have everything up. We're going to be walking through the motions of this. We're going to be looking at things, and I'll be just explaining a little bit of what's going on as we're working through it. So these here are panels that go to some solar lights. The client said that they're solar lights that that they hold near and dear to them have become weathered, started to fall apart. So now that I have a better camera setup, I can show you. So this is the solar light. Let me go ahead and attach the top to it here. Is it on? It's on now. So with the top, and it does that, right? RGB, cool. Thing is, all of these panels are really old and they're brittle. Can you tell which ones I 3D printed? You actually can't tell on camera. These are the originals here, these two. And this, and this are 3D printed. So I went through, I used an image of this to go ahead and replicate all of the holes and divots. Using my calipers, I measured all of the snap points. And then I had to print it standing up. And I'll explain why in just a bit. But it's all the slight nuances of 3D printing, which we're here to learn, we're here to enjoy, and we're here to see how the machines work. And I'll explain everything I do as we go. So, again, welcome to the stream. So, I printed these standing up because where's my pen? Something to write with. Something so you guys can see. So let's say I had a snap point like this, right? It hangs off of the print and it needs to grab onto something. This needs to move. There has to be some sort of movement here. Now the thing with 3D printing is it prints everything in layers. Every layer line that gets printed above each other, even though they're fused together, there's still slight, small, very minuscule air gaps in between these layers. So every layer line itself is actually a weak point. Now, if you have something in this shape that is going to move, you don't want the layer lines to go across this way, because what's going to happen is when any force is applied to this area here, that weak point, that layer line that goes across that is going to snap. It's going to let go. It's going to just pop off. So what I ended up doing is, while it's printed standing upright, right? Let's go ahead and rough example here. This whole layer with all these arms is printed in one layer this way. So all this was printed in one go. So now the weak point is actually the ups and downs, not the horizontal, but like the vertical. Oh no, wait, because it's 3 dimensions. So it's not the up and down. It's not the left and right, but it's that one. So what is it? The Z. I think this is the Y. This is the X. So now, like, when it's printed in this standing orientation, the Z is actually the weak point, and the X and Y are the strong points, because the X and Y technically get printed all in one go. As the printer moves around, it's going to do all that in one piece. So that weak point is the Z. So when it's standing up, the Z is going across this way. So if these little arms need to bend outward, they're not going to be brittle. They're going to be a little strong. So that is why they were printed standing upright. Of course, it increases the print time, but that's just the price you pay for having to get something that's functional, right? You have to kind of not necessarily roll with the punches, but you have to know what you're doing, not just sending stuff to the printer and going, eh. You know, like, you have to understand how 3D printing works and how the way that it works affects whatever material and whatever product you're trying to achieve. Whatever desired outcome, you want to make sure that that gets applied correctly. And I'll show some examples of that in a sec, of like just different orientations and things to avoid. Looking at the Batman print that I'm printing right now. So 3D printer slicing software has an auto orientation function where the 3D printer software automatically kind of tries to calculate the best way for something to be facing, but it's not thinking cosmetic. It's thinking for itself, which is, how can this item, how can the part be printed without falling off the build plate? So auto orientation is actually only focused on how the printer can print something without it failing during the initial print. So of course it's looking at like, what is the best way to add supports? It's looking at what is the best way, hang on, let me turn this on to be a little loud. It's looking at what is the best way to add supports in brim, any sort of build plate adhesion, just to make sure that, you know, it doesn't fail. But it doesn't think of cosmetics, right? If you want the item to have a certain output, a certain look to it, you're gonna have to make sure that you go through and change that orientation yourself. So let's go ahead and get this off of here. Use the little nips to pull out any sort of leftover support in these holes. We'll punch them out once we get the backside ripped off. Again, being cautious, because as I mentioned, these layer lines going across is the weak point. So if there's any force applied in this direction, like pressed that way, it can actually snap this way. But when these are applied and pushed into their sockets, you're pressing against the clips, and those clips are actually going to move inwards and outwards, not ups and downs. You know, bing bong, bing bong. So again, welcome to the stream, Chunks 3D. We alive, we kicking, we doing things. In over there on Twitch, I added some Twitch extensions. Try to liven up the chat for any of y'all that are there. I'll actually hop over there on Twitch right now and manually start it. So on Twitch, you can use your channel points to throw like tomatoes at me. You can throw rocks, eggs, etc. You can also play a Pokemon game where you go and try to catch Pokemon. All in the chat over there on Twitch. Twitch extensions are fun. Like I said, we're working on just 3D printing, getting stuff done. Okay, there's only a few little parts that need extra assistance. There's a little bit of support left in that area. We'll go ahead and flush that out. A little bit of support's left over here. Actually peel that one off of my hand. And then there's one right here. So that's another complete panel. Ready to go. We'll add this to the pile, because there are already quite a bit of these that I've completed for the customer. And these here that you see me cleaning up are to complete their order. They ordered a good 30 some of these to go ahead and replace on all of their solar lights. So we're just finishing up that order so we can progress and proceed on to newer orders, new biz. I'm getting new requests on the daily. If there's anything you want 3D printed, you can go ahead and reach out to me. I'm available www.chunks3d.com. You can also message me on any of my socials, whether you're on Insta, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch. If you see something online and you want it printed, you can reach out to me and I can email you a quote as to how long it takes to print that object. All my prices are based on time and material. So however long it takes to print at the standard print speed, plus however much material is used to print that object. Now, standard print speed for the Bamboo X1 Carbon, not like a standard print speed on an Ender 3. I use bamboo time. So even if, let's say all my bamboos were busy, if I had to throw it on my old Ender 3 just to try to get it done, I'm still going to charge you the bamboo time. So if it originally was only going to take about an hour to print, and I had to throw it on the Ender 3, and it ended up taking 3 hours, you would still only get that hour charge. Just because it's not fair to charge different fees like that. And like I said, I'm all about trying to get people who don't have access to 3D prints, you know, really neat things, cool stuff that they want. You know, it's always nice when you walk through a store and you go, I wish I had that. Wish I could have one of those, but I can't afford it. You know, that little meme, that girl. With 3D printing, for the most part, you can't. You break something, you need a new one, I can make it. I actually had a guy that reached out to me yesterday. He said, I think he's going to stop by later on this afternoon. He's going to bring me a part of like a child's dresser. It's like a railing, plastic railing, that helps the drawer slide in and out. It's broken. Well, guess what? I'm going to fix it for him. You know, that's one thing that with 3D printing, it helped, you know, kind of like broaden the horizon of like just like how we are here. And it's, you know, everything's about buy. Everything's about having something new. But I mean, if it's still perfectly good and there's just something that just needs to be repaired on it and fixed, why can't we just fix it? You know, like there's so much. We'll just get a new one. We'll just get a new one. But if it's such a little thing, why don't we just fix it? So that's the beauty with 3D printing, because we can go and do that. I actually did that with one of my dressers. There was something that fell on one of the dresser cabinets while the door was open, and the internal brackets that hold the walls to the dresser drawer actually broke. Those brackets, guess what, are made out of plastic. What did I do? Just printed some new brackets, new little corner things, just to put some screws in, and wham bam, those drawers are good as new. They've been fixed for like the past 2 years. I'm pretty sure wifey already forgot that those have been fixed and replaced. Anyways, welcome to the stream. Hello, hello, hello. Say hi. Make sure if you're over there on TikTok land, tap the screen. Should put the Batman in frame, so the people could be like, what? Just put this like right here. It's like takes up half of my desk space. I have a very small desk area. Boom, 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 boom. Just going through, just like the other one. We're removing the supports. We're using the little points of the clips here, the nippers, and just pulling and poking to get that support material out. There we go. Shows a little better that way. The other way was catching the sunlight from the door. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Chunks 3D. Getting print orders ready for customers. Getting things done. Working on projects. Making stuff and things. Depending on how much time we have in this stream, may or may not see some Fusion 360 while we go ahead and model. Do a quick little doodad here and there. Try to make something. I had a request by one of my cousins to make Mickey Mouse ears. So they're going to be doing that. I already bought the headbands where we're going to attach the ears to. I found some resource images online that we're going to base the models after. We're going to go ahead and get those done. I also had a request to make a lithophane light box. This person wants a lithophane light box with Tangled on it, aka Rapunzel. That's what it is. But it's an image from Tangled where they're on a boat and they've got like all these little light things in the sky. So we'll eventually get to that. Maybe this stream, maybe next stream. It kind of depends on how much time we have. I do plan on being here for a while. Make sure you stop by. Make sure you say hi. Hello. Let me go ahead and click on that chat extension though over here on. Let's go ahead and add this here. What? Yo, it's saved. That's cool. It saved my my current progress. So now I can kind of like, what is it? Pokey what? Pokey buddy? Pokedex? Oh, we'll just say Pokey help. All commands are on this Google Doc. Cool. Pokey start, Pokey buddy, Pokey pass, Pokey catch, Pokey shop, Pokey raid, Pokedex, Pokey daily. We'll do that. Pokey daily. Nah, it wants me to join a Discord? Nah. Okay, so Poke Daily. What else? What other Poke Gift? Open your present. Open your present. Check your loyalty in the stream. Recent. Shop. Yeah, it's just the basic Pokemon stuff. But it's cool that I was able to go ahead and bring my Pokemon over here. I had to adjust the size of font. My bad. Can you close the door? I'll turn on the AC. Love you. Me too. Okay, I can see that. So I can't see stream chat here, which is dumb. You can see it over here. Cool. And I can see it on the talks. Yo. So I actually can only see YouTube on my stream? What? Hang on, chat box. Why is this not? Lamo Supremo. Trying to make sure that I can see chat on stream, and it's Streamlabs, like, it's got multi-stream option. Hey, what's going on, the Shrimp Father? What's happening? Welcome to the stream, Trunks 3D. We're we're cleaning up some prints, making some stuff ready for some customer orders. How are you? Hello. Like I said, so the things that we're working on today, we're removing the supports from these bad boys. These are the light panel covers for some lanterns. One of my customers had these. These are very old, and the panels were starting to break. They were getting sun damage and becoming brittle. So I went ahead and 3D printed new ones. So you can sort of tell, but those are the new ones already on the solar light. And then just so you can see the effect. Let's go ahead and attach the top part. Boom. So it still catches the light nicely and all that. These panels were printed in PETG. PETG has some resistance to solar damage, so they will last outside, which is great. Just go ahead and definitely give some life, some longevity to these items. Anybody new to the stream? Welcome, welcome. Chunks 3D. So this is a reciprocating chisel. I usually use it to kind of pry things apart, and then if they're stuck, we can go ahead and turn it on. And because it is a chisel, it will cut away at the plastic. You can kind of hear it. Hear that? As soon as it gets pressure applied to it, it starts bumping the edge back and forth. And that will go ahead and cut any support material that's getting stuck onto the item. Just printing, doing some CAD, trying to make some kind of brackets jig or something to stack milk crates. You know, that's the beauty with 3D printing. You can make anything. So as long as you have some calipers, as long as you have some 3D print software, you can go ahead and plug in those measurements and just start sketching things out. Do a rough print, see if there's anything you need to tweak, and just keep it going. Yes, this. When I went to TwitchCon this Saturday, and I was passing out my Chunks 3D business cards, letting people know that you know, with Chunks 3D I can go and make cosplay props and all that cool stuff for the streamers. But one guy was like, "Oh yeah, you know, like I 3D print for my company and this and that, and you know, removing supports is hard on like what is it, on nylon type material, and like ABS, if you let it cool, it ends up fusing to the part, and then you can't really remove the supports." I told him, I've had encountered that before, and I invested in this thingamabobber helped so much because I mean, you 3D print, you've had it where you know you're trying to take off supports and there's stuff left over. You can pull away at it, you can try to get to it, but sometimes there's still stuff left over. And how do you get to that? Well, then you have to get some sort of blade, something to cut away. This right here, this beauty, we'll go ahead and clean that up with minimal to no effort. And being that you're not pressing hard, you're not going to have an accident where you slip and cut yourself. You know, you just small, light pressure, just little. As soon as you hear that, boom, it's like buzzing through. You see that? It already went through and cut that piece off. Parts that are a little thicker, and you just need to kind of ride it up as you press through. And just eats right through it. And this is, like I said, with minimal effort, minimal pressure, you're not going to be injuring yourself, which is great. Because with 3D printing, you know, doing stuff at home, you don't want to injure yourself. You know, like me, for myself, I actually do 3D printing as my career. I quit my job and I've been doing this from home. I run a little local print-on-demand shop where anybody within the area, if they want something done, they can reach out to me and I can go ahead and print it for them and just charge them for the print time and material. And, you know, being that I work for myself, I don't want to hurt myself doing this, right? Like, you take safety is pretty important. So having tools and gadgets that help, that make it a little safer, yes, it's always a yes for me. whether they're gloves, glasses, respirator, you know, depending on what we're working on. But yeah, that little chisel that has definitely come in clutch. Exactly, exactly. Now, when you're printing with ABS, what sort of things do you make? I've had requests for car parts and stuff, and some pieces that I've done come out great, and then sometimes I end up getting like a lot of issues where the part starts warping and it starts pulling up the build plate because of just how much material is cooling at once. So usually like big, thick ABS pieces always give me some sort of issue. Even to the point where like halfway through the print itself will split because it's just cooling that much. Very annoying. The material that I'm using right now that I'm peeling away is PETG, which doesn't necessarily need the tool, but again, thinking about safety, PETG when you pull it apart and it breaks, it's kind of sharp. And I've actually had some incidents where I've pulled PETG support off, and the area where it broke was so sharp it actually cut my hand. So plastic can be sharp, hence that's why people make shanks out of plastic, toothbrushes, that sort of thing. Let's go ahead and get this. I don't have music or anything playing in the background because I don't want to get copyright strikes, which kind of sucks because I don't want it to be dead silent. So I have to keep thinking of stuff to say. So, any questions? Any comments, ideas? What's your favorite thing to print? What's the biggest thing you've printed? For myself, I had a model of a dragon that is on a wall mount. And when I printed the initial print, I got it from a company called STL Flix. I was lucky enough to become a lifetime subscriber when they were early on. And with my membership, I get stuff weekly. And one of the designs a couple months back were dragon heads on little wooden plaques that you can put on the wall. I printed the initial one, and when I showed my wife, she was super excited, but then she kind of like paused and goes, if we're going to have a dragon printed on the wall, I want it to be dragon sized. So I upscaled it about 260% ish to try to get it to somewhat of a decent monster size. It's about 3 feet wide, 3 feet tall, sticks out almost 2.5 feet from the wall. And it's just this giant dragon head. It's so big, in fact, it took almost 6 days to print on both my Bamboo X1 carbons, and it was 19 pieces. Mainly woodworking and car audio stuff, like tools, jigs, and brackets, garage organization, print some kind of desk toys and trinkets. You know, that's the beauty of 3D printing. You can make so many functional things and then turn around and just make little toys, little fidgets, little doodads. Some of the things that I give away when I do a boost to kind of like promote the business, I have these little fidget pins. They're kind of twisty. I went ahead and put my logo on it saying Chunks 3D. So I pass those out, or have them part of a little like raffle sort of thing, so people can come and try to win a bigger prize. But most of them end up getting pins just because it's not that it's rigged. Okay, it has a very small chance of you getting a bigger prize. um, But yeah, for the most part, they take home little pins that say Chunks 3D. I actually recently printed a 2-DIN Volvo stereo bracket for one of my clients. They reached out to me because they just needed one and they found a file online. So they sent it to me. I told them how long it was going to take to print, gave them their quote. They already paid for it. I'm just waiting for them to pick up. But I have that here. Printed that in ABS. All right, now what you see in the corner is some more Batman pieces for this giant, this right here. The customer ordered 2 of them. So I am printing all the parts for the second. The first one that I printed, one of the legs was not oriented, correct, it wasn't the facing the right way on the print bed. And in doing so, what ended up happening was the leg like wall looked pretty nasty because of the support material. So let me show you here. I actually have the leg here in my little trash bucket. But it's just another thing. All my streams I tend to like explain a little about 3D printing so people can learn. A lot of people don't know about 3D printing. So, if somebody that's interested in getting into it and doesn't know the nuances of how these machines work and what Slicer software does and what happens when things are supported with support material at default settings, right? Because you can always tweak settings on support material. That can give you a positive outcome or a negative outcome. So this, when I put it in my slicer, the slicer automatically said, you know what, the best way to print this is laying down. Which, as I explained before in my stream, the way that it calculates that is it sort of looks at what is the most surface that I can get onto the build plate to ensure that that item is going to print in one go. Its main thing when it's trying to look at auto orientation is how is this going to stay without failing. Thing is, when it's printed like this, and this is a round object, this whole backside here needed support material. Can you see all that? See all that nasty? That's nasty. So what I ended up doing is I reprinted this with the leg joint on the build plate and had it print upright. So being that it printed upright, all of the outsides nice, textured as the way it should be. And these edges, because they kind of nest into the other pieces, you're not going to see all that support, all that left over. Now again, if you were to change your support settings, make your support print closer, or use support material for your printed plastic, those sort of changes can give you a better outcome. But again, it could increase print time, it could increase waste, and just more material. More material means more cost, more cost, more material, more time equals more money. Things get more expensive, especially for the customers. I like to keep my prices low. I like to do whatever I can to try to make sure that I print it in one go without wasting material. So unfortunately, this piece, basura, trash. But this one's good. Well, I'll go through, clean it up, as well as clean up some other pieces. We'll try to glue together what we can today. Because like I said, the second one still has pieces printing, which you see on the printer. Still got to print like the arm, the gloves, and a couple boots. I think I have the cape already all printed for that one. Let me show you right now what the Batman's gonna look like. So he's actually standing on the bat signal. And then this model included 2 different heads. One where Batman has his cowl off and it's hanging behind his head. And then one where it's just, him wearing his regular bat helmet. So I'm going to go ahead and, once I get the other foot printed, because you can see it's missing. Once I finish printing the other foot, this one is ready. I'm going to glue everything except for the head. So then the customer If he wants to change the head, he can go ahead and do that, since he does plan on painting it. But I did do like the default colors, kind of like how it should be. So it's a little bit less work for him to do in case he doesn't want to paint. I think he wanted two of them because one of his coworkers wants one. I know he said he wanted to paint, but who knows if his coworker's gonna want to paint. So at least it's gonna be mostly done, right? And then on my other printer, which I can go ahead and switch the cam real quick. My other printer is actually printing more of my business cards. Now, when I went to TwitchCon, I was giving out my business cards, and it was nice because they made a decent impression with a lot of people because nobody's ever seen this before, and I'm pretty excited to showcase it. Switch the cam. I do 3D printed business cards. So the business card uses HueForge. I went ahead and bought that a long time ago. And using HueForge, you can go ahead and get any image and turn it into a plastic 3D image. HueForge, okay, catch. HueForge uses a sort of algorithm, a sort of program that looks at 3D filament, looks at how transparent it could be, and it layers it so thin that it adds a gradient. So then, like images where it's like a face, you can see the gray tones going from black to gray to white. You can use other colors, but for the most part, especially like business cards, I just use black, gray, and white. The back is always printed in black, and then the next layer up is gray, and then the final layer is white. The white layer gives it that extra like oomph to make everything stand out, and also you can see just how thin it prints it. Like normally, the normal print setting when printing with HueForge is 0.08 millimeters thin. Normally, when you think of like layer height, right, the standard layer height is 0.2, so this is 0.08. That's how thin it is using a standard 4 millimeter nozzle. So very thin, but that also increases the print time like crazy. Each business card takes about an hour to print. So that build plate that you see there has 10 business cards on it. About 10 hours. But I've tweaked some settings, made it a little thinner this time around, so there's less layers to print. And I'm hoping to shorten the print time. So far, the printer said it was going to take 5 hours to print, which is a huge change, very drastic. But so far, for some reason, this time around, it wasn't sticking to the build plate. That first layer was looking nasty. Could be just a different PLA that I'm using. For these business cards, I do use PLA because PLA is cheap, easy to print with, and it's just something to just give out. I'm just, it's just extra scrap material. It's anything fancy, but it's definitely like it's a very small, but it's a very like nice showstopper. People always are. It always catches them off guard. You say, "Oh, hey, uh, if you're interested in anything 3D printed, here's my business card," and they don't think anything of it. They think, "Oh, business card," and then they just kind of like freeze. What's going on, Kyber? What's happening? Welcome to the stream. Chunks 3D, talking about 3D print stuff and things. Working on some Batman things and some other clients' projects. How are you today? How are things? One of my projects, I was telling my wife, I feel like Mike Wazowski, because like there's a local band here in Southern California that actually reached out to me to print something that they had 3D modeled on Fiverr, and I was like, sure. They sent me the file. I print it in resin, and chilling, but printing an arms like prototype rework. Nice. Um, so I 3D printed some resin. They're like what do you call them? Pendants for like a necklace. And initially, I just 3D printed the design as is. They didn't know what size they wanted it, so I printed a couple different sizes so they can see what size looks better as a pendant, as a charm to put on some sort of necklace. So we worked on that, and then what ended up happening was the initial design actually was too thin on the back end. So what was happening is, even though it was printed in resin, which is fine, it was actually very thin and very delicate. So with any sort of added force, they were just kind of snapping in half. So I went through and remodeled their design that they bought off Fiverr, and they put it in their music video that premiered today. There's actually a music video out with something that I 3D printed. So like I told my wife, I feel like Mike Wazowski, because it's like ooh ooh ooh, that's me kind of. I was on TV. The band is called Sound of Sirens, spelled S-Y-R-E-N. Or no, Screams of Sirens. Sorry, my bad. I keep saying sound. Screams of Sirens. I'll pull it up right now just to kind of show you guys how excited I am. Let's try to get this out of here. But it's that cool being able to, people reach out to me for everything, whether it's a homework, prototyping. It's very cool being able to, share my knowledge of 3D printing with people and being able to help them achieve their dreams, their goals. Which in this case, like I said, it's a band. They're starting up, but so far, like from what I've seen, their music is pretty good. Their music videos very high quality. I'm very surprised that they're not bigger than what they are, because of just how they sound. So let me go ahead and pull it up here, and I'll show it. I'll have to lower the volume because, like I said, I don't want to get DMCA'd or whatever you call it. Pause that. Shrink this down just a bit. And let's see. Webcam capture, game capture. No, it's not that one. Give me just 1 second. 1 second. Window capture. That's what I want. Is it this one? No. Trying to see which window is it. That's Chrome EXE. There we go. This is a band, Screams of Sirens. I'm gonna show you guys the music video, just so you can see the cool little trinket that I made. So we'll put the volume up just a little bit. So these guys on their belt, they actually have the thing just chilling, and then they end up putting it on some dude. Not really sure. Technically, I went in art school. We talked about like analyzing music and looking into lyrics and figuring out what songs are about. I haven't done any of that with this. I don't know what the song's about. But let me just make sure the volume's down. But like I said, it's cool because I 3D printed their little accessories for the music video. Those right there. You see that on his hip? Right. Boom! I did those. So yeah, very exciting. A very cool experience. Like I said, just dealing with the guys. They're very cool. They reached out to me. Sorry, Vita, I just barely saw the chat. Hi. Hey, how's it going? It's cool being able to say that I sort of technically I took part in their music video. I helped them with the little things here. So very exciting. There's actually another band as well. They reached out to me. They had a design that they were working on, but they had no 3D modeling experience. They went ahead and downloaded, um, what is it called? Nomad Sculpt. And they were using Nomad to go ahead and make their model. And they were stretching things out really bad and extending vertices beyond the point of no return, um, folding things over itself just to try to get like these rough designs. And they were not good. When I told them, I was like, okay, well, look, I can make a 3D model for you, but I do have a modeling fee. But I do also teach, 3D printing and 3D modeling to some extent. I don't mind showing you how to use Nomad Sculpt. So in a bunch of texts back and forth, I actually assisted them in creating the new model for their music video. So there's another band that should be coming out pretty soon with another music video that I helped them design their accessory and print, and I'm excited for that one too. They told me their music video is still in the works, but this one, like I said, the quality of like the video, the sound, like they're on Spotify, like they should be bigger than what they are. Like, so I'm just very excited. Like, this is what I woke up to today. I was like, oh shoot, they told me the music video was gonna go live at the end of the month. It's close to the end of the month. This is it. So yeah, Screams of Sirens. If you're into like the kind of like screamo sort of like uh, metal sort of, I forgot what it's called. If you like that music, I know I do. I enjoy listening, but oh man, it's just so cool. And then I can pull up the 3D model in a bit, just so you can see like the things that I changed on it, just to make it, like I said, more sturdy. And I'll point out like the flaws in the initial design. But yeah, that's so cool. I Mike Wazowski. So yeah, the guy's wearing it throughout the whole video. It's all like, right here. So again, very cool. Nice knowing that I took part in that. So let's go ahead and take this off now because I don't want it to get DMCA'd or whatever. Let's go ahead and hide that page. And where is it? I have some emails that we spoke back and forth. Let me scroll down here on my phone. Past, beyond, it was before I did my Deadpool swords. It was before I did car part here. It's been a couple months actually. Where is it? Because I remember like when they first reached out to me, I was just like, oh, okay, cool, little band just doing their thing. But no. So the initial file, whatever software they used to create it, you can see here. When I went ahead and opened the file in OBS, or not in OBS, when I opened the file in my slicing software, you can see all the exposed vertices. This file itself, the model, was incredibly broken. Luckily for me, I use Bamboo Slicer, Bamboo Studio, and Bamboo Studio has a feature where it'll kind of tell you that the file is kind of like not good, and then it'll repair, and it'll go ahead and fix a lot of those vertices and make them solid, so then you can actually have a solid print. So I went ahead and used that, fixed it. I showed them how it would be printed on FDM. with the FDM printer, it was going to use a lot of supports, but of course they wanted a nice smooth outcome. So I ended up printing it in resin. This is the initial print. But what happened is, let me find it here. Let me zoom in. So the center design is mirrored. You can kind of, wonder if I can increase the darkness on it. It's too bright. The center part of the design has that cut. You see that groove that runs all the way down to the bottom of the model? That's actually on both sides. So if you think of like the letter X, right? They meet in the middle. That middle point is barely touching, and it's barely being held by any sort of material whatsoever. And it's like that from the top all the way down. So what ends up happening is any sort of force applied to this thing's gonna snap in half. What I ended up doing additionally to fix that, the second time after I printed the initial ones for them, on the back side where you're not gonna see, I actually closed that gap. I made it solid all the way through. So then the part itself was a good 3-4 millimeters thick on the back end, just so it holds. The front end still had that initial groove that slit all the way down, but the back side that needed that extra support, which isn't visible, goes ahead and holds the piece. So yeah, seeing it in person, seeing it on the music video is very exciting. Here's another when we were working on what size to make the charm here. But yeah, very exciting. Like I said, I was like, oh, look. That's me. Well, that's not me, but I mean, that's me. So all things that, like, being that you 3D print and you come up with designs, you kind of know what to look for when it comes to making a model that will work and that won't work. I do get some students from Cal State San Bernardino that'll reach out to me for their projects. I get people that are working in like robotics and stuff, and they're making little robots, little doodads here and there. And some of the designs they send me, like they don't have in their mind how a 3D printer works. They just design things based on like, oh, well, I kind of want this for my robot, and they'll just design things. So here's an example of an item that once printed, I told them, I was like, look, it's not going to work how you have it. This piece was like this big. Actually, instead of showing you the photos, I have them right here. I put them in a little baggie, and I was going to have them print or pick them up just so they can see. And they were like, nah, just throw them away. Print something else. And I was like, all right. But they're very small. This hole here is actually on both sides. And the center portion is maybe like a 0.5 millimeter thick. And then it has a hole for something to be mounted in. Thing is, with the support material, if you know anything about 3D printing, let me sketch it out here, just so people can get some understanding. So if you're printing something, let's say it's I don't know, let's say it's a wall like this, right? Let's say this is your object. This is what you want printed. And this is the build plate. As the printer is working on these layers, and it can't just print in the air, it needs to print that support. So it'll go ahead, print some sort of support material, and then just before the part, it stops printing that support material. That gap in between the support material and the part is what allows the support material to release. But the thing is, that part was so thin that when it went to go print that minuscule layer on top of that support material, that layer had nothing to stick to. And normally you do like at least 1 to 2 layers after a support material. You can even see it like looking at this leg here of the Batman, right? All that nasty, ugly that you see is the material that first extruded above the support material, and then to make it more solid, it had more and more layers added to it. All those additional layers is what made it a solid object. that part that they wanted me to print had no additional layers. It was just that first layer after the support, and that was it. So I told them, I was like, you might want to change your model slightly to go ahead and make it so it can be printed. I explained to them how with 3D printing, there's things that you need to consider when making your models, and they didn't even bother. They're just like, yeah, no, just throw it away. Yeah, we'll do something else. Okay. Trying to help you guys learn. I guess I can throw these away now. There's no need in holding on to them. So this one's done. I have one more to clean up. Then we can start cleaning up some of those Batman prints. It's this one right here. Cool, 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 cool. How do I... But yeah, I am multi-streaming on multiple platforms. I am on Twitch, TikTok. Right now I'm not on Insta. Insta's been giving me some issues, but feel free to give the channel a follow. I'm trying to do live streams every day, normally around 2 p.m., but today I decided to do some earlier. Wifey even told me, she's like, hey, why don't you just start streaming? You're already working on 3D prints. And I was like, you're right. Because normally, like, I want to make sure my 3D prints or my 3D printing and all that is entertaining. So if I'm not just solely working on the 3D prints, I'll have the 3D printer. Where's my? I'll have over here. I'll always have the 3D printers showcasing what I'm currently working on. But then in this area here, if it's not physically working on stuff, it'll be games. I'll be playing stuff from like Fortnite to 7 Days to Die to whatever, just to make sure that like people can stop by and see something interesting, whether or not they have questions about 3D printing and they want a Fortnite asset printed, which I've already done that before. I printed the little fish that you eat. I printed the sign that says Battle Victory Royale, right? So if I'm not working on stuff like that, I'm usually gaming and still working because 3D printing right now is my life. It's good. It's the best. Like Nacho. I wake up and I eat the same food every day. It's the best. He's all sad. But no, I actually enjoy this. Every new customer, every new client, every new order that I get is a new experience. Nobody orders the same thing twice. Everything I do is totally new, totally unique, totally for that one customer. And it's those experiences that just keep me in awe as to all the different things that can be possible with 3D printing. And making the content out of it, I want people. What was that? What? Something happened. There was a noise. Um, Thank you for whatever that was. uh, what was I doing? That caught me off guard. Uh, Thanks for the follower, Shrimp Father. That's what that was. I see it now. Um, when it comes to 3D printing and showcasing all the different things, I want people to know of what's available and what they can do. So I try to make this whole experience as enjoyable as possible for anybody who's new, anybody who's scared to go into 3D printing. And then of course I offer my services for anybody that wants anything, because why not? Whether it's aid and assist in printing something that you've tried printing and you can't get it right. Um, to assist with 3D modeling. I've actually one of my teachers is a or excuse me, one of my sisters is a teacher, and she's in the art department, and her school was looking into getting a 3D printer, and she actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, if we were to get a 3D printer, can you set it up for us?" And I said, "Absolutely. Uh, I'll do you one better, and after I set it up, I'll show you guys how to get it working, and I'll show you guys how to 3D print. So then you can go ahead and trickle that down, that bit of knowledge down to your students. So then if they have something that they want to work on, they have something that they want to print, you're not going to be like, oh, okay, well, figure it out, student kids. Like my sister as their instructor can go, okay, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to look out for. Let me look at your design and see if there's anything that needs to be fixed. So I told her, I was like, I don't mind like teaching you guys. Like that's the best part of life is teaching. Thanks. Yeah, I went to TwitchCon on Saturday. I've had a Twitch for like forever, and I used to do just gaming content, but I had a full-time like 9 to 5 job that was eating away at my day and ruining my creativity and just killing my motivation. And now that I work for myself, 3D printing, I'm trying to make more content on all different platforms, including Twitch. And I really appreciate you stopping by here on the YouTube side. And I saw that you followed on the Twitch side. And yeah, it's great to have you. Like it's nice being surrounded by another like-minded individual who likes 3D printing. One of the people that I met out at the TwitchCon, because of course at TwitchCon when I went out there, I mainly went to try to just let people know who I am and let people know that I'm looking for a community of people who do the same thing that I do. And everyone, of course, content creates and has their own flavor, their own flair. And I couldn't find anybody that content created 3D printing um, the way that I kind of do. I mean, you see on like TikTok and stuff, like people just have their printers running and they just walk away and it's just a printer just doing its thing. I want to do more than that. Like people need to know this isn't a set it and forget it sort of thing. Um, Especially because that's no fun. That's you got to put love into your 3D prints. I had an order picked up yesterday. It was cosplay props for a Mysterio costume. So it was like the Mysterio collar and gauntlets. The guy reached out to me. I printed him and painted him for him. No extra charge for the painting, just because I thought it was a neat costume. And when he stopped by, he started asking me like, "Oh, like, is it hard to get into 3D printing? Because I've always wanted to, and this and that." And I told him I was like, to be honest, I do streams every day talking about 3D printing. If you ever want to get into 3D printing and you want to learn, I don't mind teaching you. And being that he's local, like I don't even mind like helping you set up. It's all good. I did explain to him every printer is somewhat unique, even if it's like the same model printer. Any sort of tweaks and in any sort of like bumps in shipping can go ahead and make it so you have to recalibrate this and that. And those steps are kind of like important, but they're not like game breaking. Like, oh well, I can't do this. Everybody can do it. It's just like freaking Ratatouille. Like everybody can cook, everybody can 3D print. But I do appreciate the support. Thanks for following. One of my buddies, the dragon head that I had mentioned that I printed super large for myself. I printed him at this regular scale um, of that dragon head, and I gave it to him for his birthday. And he reached out to me today. He's like, "Hey, my wall's looking a little bare, and I only have the one dragon head on it. Do you have any more?" And I was like, "Sure do." STL Flicks coming in clutch. That was an STL Flicks file. So I just told him, you know, roughly how much it'll cost to get those printed. Granted, giving him the friend discount, that sort of thing. But I can go ahead and I don't know if you're an STL Flix member, but I can go ahead and show you their site so you can see some of the designs I'm talking about. Let me go ahead and clean this up here. So that's the last of those panels. I do have, like I said, pieces of the Batman, the second one that I printed, that we're going to go ahead and just start cleaning off the supports from. But we'll do that in a bit. Go ahead and put this back here just in case people are interested, people are curious. But let's pull up that web page, that window capture here. STL Flix. So I usually tell any new customers, like, hey, if you're interested in anything, I can look into finding a file for you. And if it's something that I can't find, I can make it. So, you know, it all just depends on, like, you know, what floats your boat, sort of thing. And what's cool with having the STL Flix account is there's just so much stuff that they're constantly adding to it. It's great. So I'm actually looking right now. There's new files. It says skulls for days. So we'll look at that right now. Boom. STL Flix. Skulls for days. So they usually do little videos. So let's go and watch that.
Have you ever imagined walking into a room full of skulls? Well, it might not actually be as creepy as it sounds. We have 8 new skull themed models to bring everything you need, shaped as a Halloween classic. Say goodbye to boring plain skulls and hello to a spine-tingling collection.
Ooh, that one's cool. Meh. Those are neat. Ooh. That light though? That light? Ooh, a deck box?
Tell us in the comments below.
Okay, that deck box though?
And I'll see you next time.
That deck box is cool. I'm gonna have to do that one for sure. I don't like using the MMS AMS whatchamacallit for the bamboo too much because it increases print time like crazy. But you know, printing it and then painting it, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind painting at all. What's this one right here? The Skull Secret. Let's see, where's their dragons? Let me show you guys all the dragon heads that I'm talking about. Bum, 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 bum. So I printed him, this guy. The Titan. See the default size? You can see the guy's hand. It's roughly about, you know, 8 or 9 inches, right? You know, the standard size of a build plate. I give it the old rub and buff treatment. I don't know if you know what rub and buff is, but rub and buff is kind of like a wax-based paint that you can just kind of throw on a napkin and just graze over a 3D print. And any sort of raised area, it'll go ahead and paint that silver or metallic. So his print I primed black, and then I went over it with silver rub and buff. So now he has a silver Skullboy Titan. But there's all of these. So when he reached out and he's like, "You got any more of the dragons?" I was like, "Yeah, I get you more dragons." These are the keychain versions. But yeah, STL Flix, it's a great place to find things to print, and then if you have their reseller's license or whatever they want to call it, commercial license, then you're given the thumbs up to go ahead and print and sell. Can't sell the file, but you'll still see like people doing that online. They have their own Discord, and people can go ahead and show off their prints, their different, versions of whatever. But it's pretty cool. We want you to know better. Answer a survey. They have a bunch of masks. I want to print some of these, but so far right now my printers have been pretty busy. I want to do this one right here. This is the ghoul face Halloween mask. That thing looks dope. Yeah, that's gonna be one of my next prints. Either that one or the what is this, the Cthulhu or whatever. The guy from Pirates of the Caribbean is what my wife said. But it's it's articulated. It's cool. And it's huge, right? Again, 3D printing, this is all stuff that you don't normally see. And again, it's their stuff isn't branded. It's not based on stuff that you're gonna get in trouble for selling. This is all like stuff that they design themselves, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. They got little toys, little trinkets, little doodads. Right now they have a lot of Halloween stuff because Halloween. It's Halloween season, so they've been releasing a lot of stuff. So you've seen retractable swords and whatnot. Um, they went ahead and made their own like extendable retractable swords. And this. Look at this. Final Fantasy 7. Anybody? Cloud? What? Oh, look at this thing. So this is one of those swords that you can kind of like shake out and it extends. But look how massive this thing is. Just a big old sheet of just PLA swing around. It'll definitely hurt to get hit by this thing. For sure. That's one of the things that I wanna print. It's gonna be on my list. But all these blades that they made recently are all retractable, which is cool. But yeah, STL Flicks. Let's go. So we're back here, back to cleaning up this mess. Not necessarily the mess, but I mean like all the supports. For the most part, this Batman figure, these supports you can kind of flick off. It's not like the other print where you had to like go in and take things out here and there. Shoot. I forgot to remove this. See this flat part here? It's supposed to be open like this. Kinda. Now I'm interested because that's gonna look ugly, right? I don't want to take it off if it's gonna look ugly. If you can't see it because it's just flat on the underside, I should just leave it. Or do you think I should take it out so it can be like an inset? I don't know. I think I'm gonna take it off. See what it looks like. Let's see what it looks like. Oh man, I hope it's not ugly underneath. If it is, I'll have to reprint this piece. Camo. So yeah, I went to TwitchCon over the weekend. And by over the weekend, I mean Saturday. I couldn't afford any other days. It was very pricey, but it was nice to go and meet other creators. They had a lot of like big name creators there, but I wasn't there to go and fangirl. I was mainly just, I don't know, I was just looking. I was walking around just saying hi to everybody. It was cool. There was a couple of people that I did recognize. Some people I didn't. They even had like VTubers there, but of course you wouldn't know that they're VTubers because you normally don't see them. But it was cool. I took it out. It looks alright. I think I'll fish out the other one. Let's go ahead and do that. Getting all hopped up on caffeine, drinking G Fuel. There was the Capcom booth was like sponsored by Rockstar, so then they were giving away Rockstars. Um, I was heavily caffeinated. There was another company that had energy chews, not like choose your fighter, but like chew as in this is chewy. Um, and each energy chew had 75 milligrams of caffeine. So I had one of those. I had the Rockstar, and I started my day off with a Monster. On my way home, I had such a mean headache. But G Fuel actually has a new product to combat that. And I mean, it's smart because they know that people are just consuming too much energy drinks, especially because, you know, the youngins want to be like their favorite streamers. Caffeine is addicting, that sort of thing. But they have one that's just called hydration. And I took some of those packets home as like a sample. I ended up drinking them the next day. Not all of them. I drank like two. But that hydration is it's like powdered form Pedialyte. Very salty. It made my beverage very thick. And it's just because they know that people are becoming dehydrated drinking nothing but caffeine. So they're fixing a problem that they made by selling more product. I mean, money's money, I guess, to some people. But it's kind of jacked up. Like, oh well, sucks to be you guys. Here's more medicine. Cool. So we got that. We got that off here. This piece is clean. Let's go ahead and get some more here that need it. Again, most of these pieces can just be popped right off. That those solar lights, that one had to be a little delicate, little careful, just because you didn't want to break it. These are really solid. I made sure to print these with a higher wall count, just to make sure that this piece can hold the added weight from being like standing up and whatnot. Let's go ahead and throw these away before they start flying all over the place. So like this part here, this part's super thick with supports, this whole area here. This one I need to like slowly break off and then use this to kind of chisel away at some of those under supports, clean it up. let's go ahead and so we're gonna use, instead of using pliers, we're gonna dig at it with these little plastic nibs. Try to get some of this off. And then once we get the bases of these tree supports off, then we'll start going in with the chisel and clean up that underside. But hi, welcome. Chunks 3D. We're working on some of the Batman 3D prints. Customer wanted to, or he's gonna get to. Let's go ahead and muscle some of this off here. Don't really have muscles, so it's gonna be a bit of a challenge. Squeeze and pull. Squeeze and pull. There we go. Starting to peel away a little bit. Again, when 3D printing the underside, especially if it's on supports, it's going to be a bit rough. A wild Glameow appears. Well, let's go ahead and poke catch that thing. I think I might need to buy some Pokeballs pretty soon. Come on. You hear it. It's breaking away. I don't need to, like, when I'm doing that, when I'm pulling away at it, I don't need to turn the chisel on, because I'm not digging in, I'm just pulling out. But depending on how this goes, I just gotta dig into here. So the 3D printer, like I said, it's currently printing more of my 3D printed business cards. Definitely a showstopper. A lot of people kind of wows them, because nobody thinks that you can 3D print a business card. And it is, you can 3D print anything. You can. I've scanned my face with a 3D scanner and 3D printed my face. Like, and then I 3D printed my face on a card. You know, like, there's just so many possibilities for things that you can do. One of the creators that I spoke to at TwitchCon said that there's another person on Instagram, and they 3D print and make prosthetic, not prosthetic, I'm sorry, they make things to assist those with disabilities. I thought that was pretty cool. They said I should probably reach out and eventually do like a charity stream. I think once I build up once I build up a little bit more of a repertoire, maybe I'll do that. People don't know me yet, but I'm here, Chunks 3D, making things. Almost got it. It's peeling away at it. So tree supports make a lot of little trees. Tree supports hug curves as opposed to straight, solid, square supports. Usually those don't round very well. But they do have a lot of little bits, a lot of little pieces that you have to dig out. But now this is where it's going to get a little messy. This underside is not clean, very smooth, not demure, that sort of thing. Normally my rule is if I rub my finger across it and it catches my skin, this is not good. So just gonna go ahead and turn that chisel on. Make sure that the rounded part is faced down. And that is because if it's facing this way, it'll dig into the print. We want it to just graze the top. Just, you know, Like with slicing cheese, right? You know, we want to just thin slices. You know, making some of that deli ham here. Just getting all the little loose bits. Now these part inside, we'll get to them at an angle here, just to make them a little smoothly stick out. Nothing too crazy. Flip it around, do it on this side. And we'll do this raised edge here. The beauty thing about this tool is you don't have to push very hard. And if it catches and stops moving, you pull back and then hit it again. So get stuck, pull back, and then go back. Now we're just going to clean up this inside area here. Cool. So again, let's make sure that what we want cleaned up is cleaned up. And I'll show you guys a little trick afterwards. So again, it is catching my finger in some spots. Let's go back over this. Go. A whole lot better. So now my final trick to make this appealing, right? Because with any sort of pressure on plastic, it becomes white when it gets peeled away. You've seen that. You get a piece of plastic and you bend it, and it starts getting white as it stretches. Any sort of thing that you do to the 3D prints after it's printed will discolor slightly because of that, which of course you can kind of see from this. It's a little bit lighter in some areas. Trick is to hit it with some fire. Boom, it immediately darkened up. And even if you hit it with the fire real quick and go over it with your finger, it is a little warm, but even your finger will help smooth out those flat areas. You don't want to put too much fire on it and then do that, because then you're just going to put burnt plastic on your hand and it's going to hurt. It's going to blister. But that, you saw that. It immediately turned the correct shade. Hides it very well. Now we can move on to the next piece. Here's the torso. Easy. 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 This bottom part, this one I might need to... No? Came out pretty well. Pretty easy. Easy of support to remove so far. There is a straggler piece of filament there, but I got it. Cool. Come on. Can't pick up this piece. Set that aside. So now this one here. So I already went ahead and, like I said, I printed it facing the build plate, like so. All the support materials here. This part, as you can see, this part here, it sticks out. This one goes in. It's made like that so when you attach the hip kind of sits inside of this piece here. But because of that, there's a lot of support material on the inside that we need to fish out. So we'll go ahead and just pry it up with this, and then we'll use the chisel to cut away at what needs to be cut, especially because it's so thin. The support material is very, very short, so you can't really get in there too easily with like pliers. This, you would need something sharp to just kind of wiggle and dig into it. Slowly getting to that hip. You can see like where the support material meets the part. You can sort of hear how it reacts to it too. Hey, Maniac Mechanic, welcome to the stream. We're removing support on another Batman figure since the customer wanted two. Maniac Mechanic, you saw in the Discord, I did post an image of the of one that was sort of finished. So this is what I'm working on. Ryobi, yes it is. I'm a Ryobi man. I don't hate to admit it. I like the Ryobi tools. They're inexpensive and they work. I know I worked in the automotive industry, and one of the mechanics that worked for me, because I was an assistant shop manager, was a Milwaukee fanboy. Everything Milwaukee. And everything overpriced because he bought it from the Matco tool guy. I remember he told me he bought a set of pliers for $120. Yeah, he bought a set of Milwaukee pliers from Matco tool guy. He paid $120 for 3 pliers, and I was like, bruh, for reals? And he's like, yeah, they have a lifetime warranty and blah blah blah. And I was like, all right, cool. And then like a couple weeks down the line, he had another thing. I forgot. I don't know if it was a drill bit or what, but it broke. And he's like, but it's got a guarantee. And he gives it to the Matco guy. And I worked for that company for about a year. He was waiting for his replacement for a year and never got it. He can pay 20 a week. Exactly, because with the Matco tools, you can go ahead and just, make payments on it. I remember he'd always tell me like, oh yeah, I still owe the Matco guy a couple grand. But, like, yeah, if I work some OT, if we do this and that, then I'll be able to, maybe do this and that. I don't think he ever paid off any of his tools that he had. He had a lot. The thing is, he was like a young mechanic, and not to say that he's not experienced because he was young, but his thing was, it doesn't matter what the project. It could have been him taking off one sensor on the car, right? That's held on with a nut of sorts. He'd be like, oh, I need a special wrench for that. And it's like, for reals? You do? Yeah. And then he complained, man, they don't pay me enough because I have to buy my own tools, and this and all my tools are specialty tools. And it's like, but you just had to remove a nut, and you have plenty wrenches and doodads to go ahead and twist that off. You didn't have to buy a special one just for that. Oh, but it made it easier. and then he broke it. Not the tool, but the sensor. And it's like, for the outcome, it still didn't do the job. But then there he was complaining. I got my tools are so expensive because I needed to buy this and I needed to buy that. Did you? Did you need to? But yeah, I left that. I'm doing 3D print full time. There was times where using reasoning and suggesting, well, why don't we fix it like this or whatever, even though, like, I don't want to say half the time I was right, but there was quite a bit of times where he was questioning how to fix something, and I kind of brought up, well, why don't we do this? And he'd get mad because I don't have a mechanic background, but just kind of like, you know, some stuff, if you look at it, logically, being how vehicles work, combustion engines, diesel engines, that sort of thing, electrical wirings, um, depending on what the situation was, they could be fixed relatively easy. But his thing was, no, nah, we need a special tool, we need a special part, we need this, we need that. And he ended up breaking 3 of our vehicles for our fleet. He bricked 2 service trucks and 1 of the semi trucks. But he was the golden child, so they let him. That's why I left the place. That's why I left. can't can't tell him anything. No, no, no. We don't want to make him mad. He'll quit. Let him. We need somebody who's not going to break one of our trucks. Try to see which pieces still have support on them. Here's another leg piece that still has support. We'll go through with that Ryobi tool and dig that out. So when it comes to removing supports, as I was telling the shrimp father, that electric chisel that I got, that Ryobi chisel, helps a lot. Usually when removing supports, you're pulling at it with these little plastic nippers or pliers, or even sometimes you're applying heat to them. And when you're doing all that, it could damage the part. You can hurt yourself by applying too much force. And that electric chisel has helped so much in avoiding me getting hurt. The parts that I was cleaning up earlier today, they were made out of PETG plastic. PETG plastic, when broken, actually does a lot of sharp points, and those sharp points can cut you. And I've actually been cut a few times removing supports from PETG prints, and it's not fun. It's like having a paper cut, only not. So this one came out pretty good. This one should not need the chisel, but there are like some loose little straggly plastic hairs, so you can just kind of like hit it with a little bit of heat and just press those plastic bits down. And you have a nice smooth connection here. Also, I was telling the shrimp father about my exciting news that I woke up to. I didn't post it or try to bring it up in Mantra's stream because, of course, that's his stream. I don't want to go in there and be like, guys, look, look, look. But let me let you know. There's this band that hit me up to print their a little trinket that they were going to use in one of their music videos, and the music video dropped today. And you would think, oh, they're probably just a small band or whatever. And I mean, technically they are. They're still growing, but their sound quality, their video quality, it's up there. And I was very excited to be a part of it. I was telling in one of the posts that I put on Instagram, I was like, I feel like Mike Wazowski. It's like, look, 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 and it's like, even though it's not me, I feel like I was there. So let me just pull up. I have the images of the original design on my phone here, and then I'll show you the music video. Of course, with the volume down, because I don't want to get DMCA'd. But this is how they provided the original file to me. When I put the file in the slicer, it wasn't reading right. The vertices weren't matching up, and the slicer pretty much told me that there was a lot of empty space, a lot of negative space that wasn't going to print. As I explained to the shrimp father, I use the Bamboo Studio slicer, and one of the benefits of that particular slicer is you can go ahead and choose Repair Object, and it'll go ahead and look at all these empty vertices and fill them in to make them a solid piece. Went ahead and did that for the customer and showed them how it would print on the FDM printer, which is the regular plastic printer, the one that I used for printing this. And I did express that, if they want a smooth print, these layer lines are going to be visible on this object. So I would suggest doing it in resin. So you guys can see. So I sent that to them, and then I printed it in resin, and this is it curing in the UV light. But the thing is, as I kind of expressed to chat earlier, if you look here at the design, oh, my brightness is still too up. Let me lower the brightness a little bit. So if you look at the design, oof, come on. Is it my camera? I think it's the camera. I lowered the brightness. But the design itself, come on. A little bit better. Yeah, for some reason my phone got super bright. It has this groove going from top to bottom that you can kind of see right in the middle. Now that groove is mirrored on both sides of the object, and what that did was it made that a weak point straight across the middle. So any sort of extra force applied to it, it was going to break. I did some test prints in different sizes for them so they can go ahead and see what worked best. And then I went ahead and fixed the project or the object for them so they can go ahead and use it in their music video. And they did. Let me pull up the music video. I'm so excited. Like I did a little snippet on my Insta with just like a screen grab of their music video. And then I was just like, look, I was sort of a part of this. And yeah. It's cool. Switch that. We are looking for this. Done. Let's go ahead and show that. So this is their music video. The trinkets are being worn by this guy, and then they're gonna go ahead and put one on this main dude here. Let me just pause it when that happens. So of course I got to make sure that not too much music shows through. But where is it? I'm so excited. There it is. That's the thing. That's the thing I printed. Mike Wazowski. So yeah, that was throughout the video they're kind of like putting that on and whatnot. Where'd he go? See, he's wearing it. So the characters are wearing it throughout the video, and like I said, I was just so excited to be part of it as they grow, as it becomes something. But yeah, Chunks 3D, making stuff happen for people, whether or not it's for me or for others. Of course, if you can see in the corner, Maniac Mechanic. I am printing more of those business cards that I was giving out. Could showcase the other printer. I think the other printer is still printing some Batman pieces. I actually named my printers. Um, I mainly use my X1 carbons, but I do have a bamboo and an Anycubic Cobra Max, or not a bamboo, an Ender 3 and an Anycubic Cobra Max. I don't use them that much. For certain particular things here and there, yes, but for the most part, no. I don't really touch those anymore. So my two bamboos, I have one that I bought originally a couple years back, like when it first came out. And then when I got my second one, I was like, well, when I send stuff to the slicer remotely, I need to know which printer I'm sending it to. So the original printer, I call it the OG, the original. And then the new printer, I call it the new kid. There you go. So you should see on the stream there, it's printing two circle-y parts for this part here. It's gonna hold the lens, and then I'll glue the bat logo onto that. But yeah, this house here is a Ryobi house. I don't use like too many tools. I did buy some for things that I needed to do as a necessity. And then I got a motorcycle, and then like maintenance on the motorcycle, you needed tools. So I got more tools, and they just all have been Ryobi. To be honest, I've had no issues, but then again, I don't use them heavily. I know some people do because they're like mechanics and whatnot. I am not. I'm a 3D printer, an engineer, a tinkerer. Just removing this here, being that this part is so close, like the support material is literally just like a layer thick. This will need to be chiseled off. So again, just turn on the chisel, light pressure, pry it up as you push down. Not too much pressure, just very, very lightly. Just let the chisel do all the work. It just digs at it. I do eventually need to get like a bigger desk area here. Like the way my desk is, it's the surface that you're seeing now, which isn't very big, and then it has like a tray underneath that you pull out, and that's where your mouse and keyboard is at, because of how small just everything is. It's all compact. So this tool that you see here, it's pretty much, the desk is the back of the tool here, and then the front of the tool, which is that much more. So that's the surface area that I'm working with. Very small. But it gets the job done for what I need. Again, everything I do 3D printing is done here in-house, in my house, my home, which is an apartment. But I'm to the point where I can do it full time. This pays my bills, and I enjoy it. You know, like, you know how like people like putting together Legos. Just imagine getting paid to put together his Legos. You know, like it's fun. It's like, all right, cool. It is, you know, I do know that there is a profession out there for, like, they call them Lego masters, where they just put stuff together. But even that at times sounds difficult because they're given a task like, oh, I need you to make this or I need you to make that. With 3D printing, to me, it doesn't sound like a difficult task. I'm always like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. So this is the finished, completed bat signal. And then, as I showed earlier, this is the Batman. It's just missing a leg. I still need to print one leg on it. It's already glued and assembled. The foot attaches to the bat signal. I like so. And that'll be glued once I attach the other foot. This thing is about 2 feet tall, roughly. Almost. I think originally I scaled it and it was like 18 inches, but it's probably a little bit bigger than that. A wild Gastron. You don't own the ball. Darn. Shop. Cool. But yeah, this was the main thing that I wanted to finish. This and those lantern panels. Because now I can reach out to the customer, especially for the lantern panels, and let them know that they're ready for pickup. Should be able to pick up those today, if not tomorrow. I do have an event I'm going to this weekend at the March Air Force base, military base for planes. Kind of like a museum. They're going to be showcasing a bunch of local artists doing dance and showcasing just things. And I was lucky enough to be offered a chance to get a booth there. So I'm going to set up a booth and I'm going to be showcasing some of these things that I've printed, letting people know of Chunks 3D. Let's see here. What else do I need to work on? I need to do some 3D modeling. So we'll switch over to that. Give me just 1 second. Uno momento, por favor. Go to my webcam settings, turn my filter back on. Just so I can turn the chroma back on. I'll just go ahead and move this camera here. Oops. Let's get a little lower. There we go. Is my chroma cam not working? My green screen? This needs to be brighter. That's all it is. Oh man. Let's see which one? Which one needs a little bit more razzle dazzle? Here we go. I think that's good. And this is this right here. Flatten it out a little bit. Good to go on that. So that's the chroma. Let's see. Vita said hi. Sucks because my Streamlabs isn't showing my chat. It's showing my YouTube chat. It's not showing my Twitch chat. Close this. Let's open up Autodesk Fusion. Let's so you're here just watching the movie. No worries, man. It's always nice to lurk. I don't have any commands like that where you can like lurk and it says all the stuff. I know there's like a bot that you can like set up, and I mean it's so I used to stream years back, and I was part of a stream community, but they were all based in like Europe. It was fun at first, and then they started having a bunch of drama, and people broke off into factions, and it was a whole lot of, I kind of don't want to do this anymore. I kept the stream channel. I would hop on here every once in a while. I mainly parted ways with a lot of them, all of them actually. And it got rid of a lot of that drive for trying to stream, especially at the time, which I had that job, right? Like I was working, 40 hours plus, and I just felt like I didn't have time to deal with that plus other things. So, like I said, it's been here. I used to use Stream Elements. I don't use that anymore. Actually, I think I deleted my Stream Elements a long time ago. I used to have merch. I don't have that anymore. But now that I'm doing content with my 3D printing, for my birthday, my wife told my best friend, she was like, "Hey, he really, really wants to do something with his business. He really, really wants to showcase 3D printing, and he really, really wants to make content." So my friend actually bought me a year's worth of multi-streaming with Stream Elements, and so far it's going great. Just a small couple issues here and there, just with connectivity at home, but I think that's just my internet problems. I live in a very crappy neighborhood, um, so that was a little bit of my headaches that I was having recently, as of late. I think like my chat was literally working great uh, like 2 weeks ago, and then I didn't stream, and then I went to TwitchCon, and then now I'm back on the schedule, back on trying to do things, trying to. I think at the most I had followers was like 350, and now I'm back to like 170 something. So I'm trying to like grow the viewer count again, trying to do something with this because it'd be nice to have some sort of additional, um, even if it's small, a couple bucks here and there on top of what I'm already making with the 3D print. Because I'm already out here, I'm already doing 3D printing. Might as well make content out of it. So that was my goal. That was one of the things that I explained to Mantra is, like I'm here just trying to be who I am. I'm here to let you guys know who Chunk is and what 3D printing is and what I enjoy doing, and I want to share it with people. So that's what we're doing here. Now let's go ahead and go back to Stream Elements and let's window capture. Chroma, Streamlabs, no. it this one? No. I think it is window capture. So we are looking for Fusion 360. So this design here is a prototype for a customer. They're like little boxes that look like dog bones. Not sure if this is store food, store water, store toys. I don't know. But it will be printed out of TPU plastic. I already started working on the different sizes. He said he wants it to be like the Russian nesting dolls, where one goes inside of the other, with 3 different sizes. So I was actually just finishing up the 3rd smaller size. We're going to be making the small lid for it. And then eventually we'll be sending this to the printer. How cool is that though? Like, let me just pause for a second. I made that, right? Like I designed this little doodad. It's nothing too crazy, but at the same time it's like I made this. And what could be more exciting than that? Like, you make something and you want to showcase it. You design something and you're excited for it. Others are excited for it, and I'm getting paid for it, which is another beautiful thing about that is, somebody came to me and said, "I want you to make this for me. Can you do this?" There was just getting real with chat here. There was one of my clients. He installs pools, and he was having me design and model miniature pools based on his designs and his measurements. So I shrunk everything down. Every foot that was there, I shrunk it down to, I think it was like, no, every inch was a millimeter. And I used that ratio to shrink down, 24 feet to 240 millimeters. Something like that. It was shrunken down to the point where like you can hold the model in your hands, but it was to scale. And I made those so he can go ahead and display and show the customers like these are all the different pool models that we have. And it was really cool having him come back to me time and time again with these different pools saying, "I want this one, I want this one, I want this one. Can you make this? Can you make this? Can you make this?" And eventually I told him, I was like, "To be honest, I really appreciate you coming to me and looking for me for work, because growing up in this Hispanic household, like I never got the attaboy, you're doing good for my pops, right? My dad was always like, you're a piece of garbage, you're gonna be lazy like your uncle, you guys are worthless, that sort of thing. That was the kind of like upbringing that I had. So hearing all these clients come out and reaching out to me because they hear of my work and they like the quality of my work, it warms my heart and makes me so happy that people want to see that. So yeah, just excited. Um, and I see how ugly the chroma is on the camera. Just looking at it right now. See all the white background behind me. Let's go ahead and adjust that a little bit. Let's see here. What's this one? I had my chroma set pretty well earlier today. Why is it cutting me off? Don't do that to me. I don't likes the way it looks. I don't likes it. There we go. Lower the darker green. But yeah, back to the whole 3D print thing. Yeah, I really enjoy being able to provide a service to people because they hear and they like and they're repeat customers. They keep coming back. You know, it's cool. Half of Not half of my clients, but is it this side? It's this side. This guy right here. A lot of my customers come back not because of word of mouth, but because they already know. They already know what they're gonna get. New customers are from word of mouth, which is dope. So we'll hide that box. We're gonna hide that box. We're gonna be editing this one. So what I need to do, just to explain the process here, explaining what we're doing here with some of the tools, some little doodads that I picked up over time to make things easy, make things quick. There's a tool up top called Press and Pull. We're going to be pressing and pulling some things just to get the desired effect that we want. So I'm going to select the Press and Pull tool. If you hold down Shift and then you click the middle mouse wheel, you can go ahead and rotate. Fusion 360, if you were to click the middle mouse wheel without holding Shift, it just pans. But in this case, we want to rotate around the object. So now that we have Press and Pull selected, we're going to zoom in using the mouse wheel and click on the side profiles that we want to extrude. It'll go ahead and extrude it proportionally based on the faces that we're selecting, and it'll pull them out in that direction. So I'm selecting all the faces all the way around, and I'm literally going to extrude them by 1.5 millimeters, just enough to give it a little lip. And that is because we're going to make a lid that's going to snap around this lip. So now that we've selected all of our sides, there's actually a little box. Try to move the window here. No, that wasn't it. There's a little box that is appearing right here. It's not even showing. I guess the little box is considered a pop-up. There's a little window that says how many millimeters you want, for distance. I'm just going to go ahead and plug in 1.5. This model that I'm currently working in is all in metric. It's already all set in millimeter. So any sort of adjustment that we're doing is going to be in millimeter. So 1.5 mm, press enter or click OK, and it'll go ahead and apply it to the image. So again, if we hold down Shift, click the middle mouse wheel button, we can go and rotate around, and you can see that it created that new little lip. Now, what we need to do is make a lid around this. And we're going to do so using the same steps. So right now, first things first, we're going to combine these two pieces, make them one unit, one body, one mind, one power. And now what we can do is we can go ahead and create a sketch based on this, extrude that sketch up about 1.5 millimeters, stretch it out another millimeter or so, and then extrude that extra millimeter down. We're going to extrude it down the distance of this, which is probably another millimeter. Yep, 1 mm. And then once we get past 1 mm, we're going to extrude it again, probably another 1.5 millimeters, but we're going to add a taper, a flange. Not a flange. We're going to add it's like a stretched angle thing. We're going to move that extrusion by 6%, so then it kind of branches outwards just a little bit. So now that is going to lock on to, it's actually this way. It'll lock on to the thing that we're doing. This thing right here. In the meantime, we're going to stay hydrated. Liquid death. I like canned water because I can. Gotta get that aluminum in my body. Don't you need iron and aluminum? Got electrolytes. So if you hit create up top and do create sketch, normally with Fusion 360, it's going to want to know what plane you're going to create a sketch on. You can draw really on any flat surface for the most part, and it'll go ahead and rotate the camera to that angle. What we're going to do is we're going to create a sketch based on the top ridge there. We want to make a lid based on this. So now this sketch actually has an inside box and an outside box, and that's really all we need. So now all this can kind of highlight blue for an extrusion. We're going to click extrude. We're going to click on the outside face and the inside face, and now it's going to make one solid object. We're going to pull it up 1.5, and we're not going to do the default setting. The default setting on the right side, I don't know if this shows on camera. Does it show? It's literally an invisible window. The default setting for extrusion, it says side profiles, etc., etc., but the operation is defaulted at join. What this will do is this will actually make this extrusion part of the existing body that we're drawing on. We don't want that. You can bypass that one of two ways. You can hide the body that you're drawing from, and it'll just go ahead and build a new body, or in the operation of the extrusion, you could tell it, make this a new body, and hit OK. So now on the left side of the window, you can see the different bodies when you click on them to highlight, and you can hide the different bodies. So you can see that we just extruded and made this sort of lid thing. So again, we're going to reach out to our press and pull. We're going to pull out this outer wall. Move the camera around, grab all these outer walls here. Make sure that we get all of them as we rotate around. One more. Got it. And now we're gonna extrude it like 1.2 millimeters-ish. What was the other? We'll do one. Just, we'll do 1.5. Just enough. So now, my main thing is the customer wants these to kind of fit inside one another. So now I need to show the other body that existed prior and see if it fits underneath. So you can see the one lid is sitting right underneath the other. Okay. It fits inside the other. And now if I showed the body of this one here, let's hide. There we go. Does it fit? It looks like it is a little snug. And that is a no bueno. Looks like it's to the size. We need to make sure that there's a gap. So what you can do on the bottom, there's this timeline. You can click on the last thing that you've done and you can hit edit feature. I'm going to do, you know what, instead of 1.5, we're just going to do 1. And it'll go ahead and erase the timeline. No, well, I mean, that won't erase the timeline, but it'll go ahead and correct the timeline based on the point that you selected. So now, you can see that there is a gap. And that's what we want. Because like I said, they're going to be resting inside of each other like Russian nesting dolls. The other lid is going to be sitting on top of this here, which you can see there's a space. So that is good. That is good. We are in business right now. The last thing we need to do is we need to add the lip around this to go ahead and catch onto the piece below. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to open up our sketches and open up that last sketch that we did. And now we can see that highlighted outer ring area, and we can see that little bit that we added here. We're going to go ahead and extrude this face down 1 millimeter, and then we're gonna pull this. Oops. We're gonna pull this through that extrusion to make a cutaway. And now that cut that dip out, that insert. Now, memory serves me right. I need to do an offset of 0.2 millimeters so it fits. And I actually need to do this on all the lids. So we'll go ahead and grab that. We're just gonna pull them back out just a teeny tiny bit. Granted, they're gonna be pretty snug, but we want to make sure that they're not too snug. They'll warp and deform when they sit amongst each other. Actually, instead of shrinking out the lid, I'm gonna shrink the lip before it. Yeah, we'll shrink the lip before it just a little bit. But now we have that extrusion. It's out by 1 millimeter. And now we're do that double extrusion, pulling it out another 1.5. But we'll add the taper angle of 6 degrees. That tapered angle, gonna give it just enough bite, just enough. You can kind of see it, just a little whoop, just a little whoop. That little bit is gonna go ahead and kind of latch on to the piece that we're doing. So that's the 1. That's the 2. And that's the 3. I know I can go back in the timeline and re-edit the one that I did, but that might also adjust. That might also adjust the sketches that I did. That'll adjust the pretty much everything after when we did the original drawing. Press and pull. See, it's already freaking out. That's not what I want. Escape, make sure I don't have any selected. Press and pull. Select this guy. Select this guy. Nope, it's freaking out. Alright, cool. We'll just leave it as is. Fusion 360, everybody. So this model actually is done. We're going to be sending this to the printer pretty soon. Sorry, I was just looking at some things on the Discord here. Some of y'all are crazy with your setups. It's cool though. Very, very cool. Actually, one of my latest designs that I need to do isn't even a 3D print design. One of the clients reached out to me and said, "Hey, I know you like painting and I know you have like decent artwork and whatnot. I saw some fake nails online. Can you paint me some nails?" And I was like, "I guess." So I have some fake nails that I need to paint. I might do that pretty soon. You know, Halloween's around the corner. Excuse me. All more things to work on. As far as like things that I can do right now, I'm currently just waiting on the printer to hurry up and finish doing its thing. It needs to hurry the hell up, and then I can go and start the next project. Um, I'm probably just gonna hop on Fortnite or something. I don't know. But as far as like the stream, I think this will be it for the stream. We've been here for 2.5 hours, you know, chit chatting, talking, doing our thing, letting you guys know about 3D printing, letting you guys know what's going on in my life, you know, and I hope you guys appreciate the work that I do, and I hope to see you guys soon. And yeah, what does that guy say? Take care, brush your hair. Or like the other streamer that says like, if today was your birthday, happy birthday. If you sneeze during this video, bless you. Remember that? Intro of darkness and redness and whiteness. But yeah, I guess let me show the last process. We're gonna go ahead and export this and then throw it in the slicer so you can see. Might as well. Those are the last steps. We'll do that. A while. I want to have Pokemon. I'm playing my own chat game just because. So, I can actually show all the bodies, right? Multiple bodies. And if you do export, there's different ways of exporting. There's even a button in Fusion 360 that just says 3D print. But what that's gonna do is only 3D print the one body that you select. I haven't figured out how to make it do multiple bodies, but what we can do is we can export this as a step file, STP or STEP. So we're just gonna go ahead and export that as a step file. And now let me go ahead and show you guys Bambo Studios. Let me go ahead and clear the build plate on these proprietary products so you don't see what's going on. And let me find that step file on my desktop here. I know it's here somewhere. It looks like a dog bone. Come on. I spy with my little eyes a step file called Knick-Knack Paddywhack Give a Dog a Bone. That's what I named the file. Where it is? What is? Where is it? File export. Where is it saving to? Oh, it's in my downloads folder. Duh. Am I more of a Kiki or a Boba Fett? Kiki, my lord. Been watching a lot of Game Grumps lately. Let's go ahead and pull up downloads. Grab that step file. Let me go ahead and change what you guys are seeing and make it so you can see. Make it so you can see that slicer. So right now the current slice settings are for printing TPU. TPU is rubber, and that's what we're going to go ahead and print these dog things out of. So TPU is bendable rubbery plastic. It is very finicky and very precise and very, how do I say, messy. The reason it is it has, it's very stretchy, so it tends to string a lot, but you can't do too much retraction. Retraction is if you're printing an object here and it's jumping over here, it's going to pull up filament up the chute so it's not dripping, and then it uses that lift while it's moving to try to reduce the amount of string that's left over on the side. But the thing is, with that plastic being so stretchy and so elastic, there's gonna be a lot of that. So there's been some settings, some heat temperature adjustments, some retraction setting changes, and all that. That luckily for me, I found online on what is it called? On Printables. The beauty thing about the 3D print community is other people out there that want to say have a bigger brain than I do. They run into these scenarios and they find solutions and they share that solution with the community. So this person made a specific printer profile for TPU filament on the Bambu machines. And that's the printer profile that we're going to be using. So what that does is that changes the print time, that changes heat setting, all that good stuff. So you can see here on our screen the dog bone box. But the thing is, we can't print it all in one go. It's going to be 6 pieces, so it's going to be 6 build plates. So now we are going to split 2 objects. Because it's a step file, Bambu sees it as multiple pieces. Now, if it was a regular STL, Bambu can still sort of recognize that certain pieces are separate, but if they had edges that were touching and I meant them to be touching, it's going to think that those touching edges are all the same object, and it's not going to split it. But if you have it as a step file, the step file is going to say, oh, okay, these are different objects. Go ahead and split. So that's what we did. We go ahead and told it that those are all different pieces. And boom, there's our dog bone thingamabobbers. Strength, we're going to go ahead and make sure that the density is 100%. We don't want any gaps in this. We don't want it to be too bendy. We actually want it, it's supposed to be watertight, right? All of these, all of these bones should be facing the other way. So then they don't need support material. So the only ones that need support materials on their outside of this, just for that little lip. Supports on TPU, for the most part, shouldn't be tree supports. Again, they're bendy, they wiggle, they're gonna move. What I did is I adjusted my standard support. So the TPU setting that I found online, it was great for printing, but any sort of supports were terrible. And the way I can explain that is, here, well, I don't have the camera showing my desktop anymore. The way I can explain it is, let me grab this cable here. So we're going from point A to point B, and we're extruding material, filament, right? We're pulling this, and we're gonna lay that across something. Now, if there's nothing underneath here, it's gonna sag. It's gonna come down. With TPU, it is very, very, very wiggly. So, as it's extruding and printing, even across support material, if it doesn't have enough support material, it's gonna sag in between each little support rung. Now, support material is already by default, it does a bunch of rows, and then it'll print across those rows, and then print the next object that you want on top of that. But that sag that goes across those dips don't translate very well. So then you have all these dips, and then it does the next layer in the dips, and then it goes to print the object, and those dips aren't filled yet. So then when you print the next object, they are not flat. They are not demure. They are not pretty. So what I did is I shrunk the gap in between all of those rows, and then I also increased how many layers it prints on the top of the support structure. So then that top of the support structure is reinforced and it's straight and sturdy. So then when it prints the next object on top, it's caressing it nice and even and can be peeled away because it's so thick that it holds together in one piece. Before, what was happening with me, it had that sag and then it was fusing to the other piece. So then when I tried to pull the support away, most of the support was actually stuck to the original part. And unlike hard plastic, I can't go in with a chisel like this to chisel away at that extra support material that got left over. And as you go through and try to like pluck at these and pull it away with pliers and the little nippers and whatnot, you actually start digging into the actual print itself, and that is a no-no, especially for something TPU. TPU doesn't have regular glue. I made a video on my TikTok, and I think I posted it on my Insta as well, going through how you glue TPU material, and unfortunately, there is no glue for TPU. There's a chemical called like tetral something fluoride. It's very toxic, and it is the only thing that I found that can actually adhere two pieces of TPU together. So that's a whole nother bag of worms that you need to consider when trying to do something like this. But that's why like you want to make sure that what you're printing, especially TPU, is all in one piece and that it is supported very well, so you don't have to deal with broken pieces. Let's go ahead and slice all of them here. And I'll let you guys kind of see like my cost estimate, what this will cost for the customer. Because like I said, it is set at a certain print like speed. I don't base my speeds or my prices on the speed of like when you print low and slow or whatever, or on Bamboos they're called silent, or I don't base it off of the sport or ludicrous speed. I base it off of the standard speed. Now for this one in particular, this is the standard speed for TPU. So now you can kind of see here it says build plate. The first build plate is going to take 1 day. The second build plate is going to take 20 hours. The third build plate is going to take 18 hours. And then the lids, 6 hours, 3 hours, and 4 hours. So in total, this rubber piece alone is going to take 3 days, 7 hours, and 2 minutes. That's probably going to be about $300. Now, on top of that, it's going to use 803 grams of material. Roughly, for me, like the way I charge out material for customers, it's about $50 a spool is what I charge. That's almost a full spool, so that's almost an additional $50. So I'm going to go into my cost estimator tool right now, just to give a quick glance as to what that'll be. I got glue on my keyboard. It's not good. So go ahead and select take a payment on my payment software here. Custom 3D print. Regular, and we're looking at what, 3 days, 7 hours. So that's 24 times 3, 36. 36 plus 7, 43 hours? No, 72. What the hell? 36? What? Good thing I'm using a calculator, right? So 24 times 3 is 72 plus 7. 79 hours of print time. Adding filament used by gram, we're looking at 804 rounded up, because it's at 803.65. And now I'm going to add my modeling fee. So custom 3D model. I'm going to charge them fancy, which is $40. So for this print, the customer is looking at $276.65, mainly because of how long it's taking to print. Unfortunately for TPU is a more expensive material because of how slow it needs to print to get it done. Now, just for the shits and giggles, right? We're going to go ahead and see how long this will take to print out of regular plastic, hard plastic, right? So let me file new, create new project, don't save, discard modified value. Let's go ahead and bring that object back in here. we're going to print it in regular PLA, just so you can see the difference. And that's not because I'm slowing it down purposefully. It's because with TPU, it has to be printed that slow. So we're going to go ahead and split this to objects. We're going to go ahead and space them out. We're going to go ahead and lay these down on the side that need to be laid down on. Strength, we're going to go ahead and set that to 100%. Infill, and we're going to go ahead and slice all. Oh man, it's freaking out. My bamboo slicer is freaking out. To be honest, it does that sometimes. It crashes. We'll reopen it. Do. Did you see? Were you there when I blew skidooed? Alright, so again, let's bring that object in. Kind of freaks out whenever you like auto lay everything down, which is kind of stupid because it's one of the features in it. But I mean, I can go ahead and pull these out into each build plate. It's no biggie. The way you do that is you click on the object, drag it over onto the highlighted build plate. Done. Click the next highlighted build plate, drag it over. Click the next highlighted build plate, drag it over. Click the next highlighted build plate, drag it over. Another build plate, drag it over. Orientation, fix that. And then right click, arrange, get it nice and centered. Same thing, arrange, get it nice and centered. Arrange, highlight, range, highlight, range. And this is just centering the print for, you know, just whatever you need. Again, setting that to 100% infill. Yes. And slice. So again, we're going to look at the print time difference between regular plastic and TPU. And you're about to see the unfortunate truth of having to print in rubber versus regular standard. $14 hours and 51 minutes versus 70, what? 79 hours? It's still going to use almost 800 grams of material, which is still almost the same amount of, you know, material as the TPU. They're roughly the same. It's just the fact that TPU is that much slower, and it has to be printed that slow. Unfortunately, for a project that's going to take that long, on my equipment that is going to be held up that I can't use for other things while this is printing, it's going to have to be charged out that way. So that's where we're at with that. That design is done. We're good with sending the quote for the customer. And yeah, we're all set with, technically, with my work for the day. Again, we're just sending jobs to the printers now while we wait for more orders. We'll not wait for more. We'll wait for more printer availability. And until then, I'll catch you guys in the next stream. Thanks again for stopping by. Laters.